What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be running through my round 22 AFL tips, as well as having a look at how I did back in round 21. So let's do that first off. Alright, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is how I went back in round 21. I got a total of 6 out of 9 tips. So I definitely had a better round than I did back in round 20 when I got a total of 1 out of 9 tips. That was horrendous. Let's take a look at what I got incorrect and correct. Tipping wise, from round 21, I got the Dogs tip correct. I got the Bombers tip correct. I got the Crows tip correct. I tipped my Pies and didn't get that correct, sadly. I tipped the Cats and got that correct. I tipped the Giants and I got that tip incorrect. I tipped the D's and I got that tip correct. I tipped the Saints and I got that tip incorrect. And I tipped the Lions and I just got that tip correct. Having a look at my own tipping comp, I am currently in 24th spot out of 39 participants. As you can see there, 39 participants. And I'm on a total of 115 points. As we go through the ladder here and we find ourselves who is at top spot. We've got Shannon Humphreys, who's in top spot, who's on a total of 129 points and got a total of 7 out of 9 tips correct last round, so fair play to Shannon. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at my round 22 AFL tips. Funny thing is, I actually haven't done my tips yet, like at all on ESPN or just anywhere in general, so I'm going to be doing them now on the ESPN app. So these are literally as live of my tips as you can get. So yeah, here we go. So first game, we've got the Pies taking on the Cats. Well, my Pies, sorry, taking on the Cats at the MCG. My Pies are coming off a 32-point loss to the hands of the Hawks, while the Cats are coming off a 12-point win over the Power last round. I'm going to be backing in my Pies to get the job done. I do think it's going to be a very close game, this one. I do think the Cats, they're going to come into this game, fired up after that win over Port Adelaide last round. But yeah, I'm still going to back in my Pies. I'm going to back in my Pies. It was a close game last time we met. The Cats, that was back in round 1, and both teams scored over 100. I'm going to back in my Pies by a margin of 13 points. I think we just want to, get back on the winners list, get a little bit of confidence back in the group. I know, Nick Dacos is out, but I still believe that we've got a very good team on paper. And yeah, I think we will want to bounce back from those last 2 losses in a row that we've had and get back on the winners list just for, confidence wise. So yeah, I'm backing in my Pies to get the job done over the Cats. Come on, the Pies. And yeah, I've backed us in by a margin of 13 points. Come on, the Pies. Next up, we move on to the first game on the Saturday. We've got North Melbourne taking on Essendon at Marvel Stadium. North Melbourne are coming off that 32-point loss against the D's, while the Bombers are coming off that exhilarating 1-point win over the Eagles. Jesus, haven't the Bombers fans just taken a ride the last 2 weeks? They've been the Eagles by a point and they lost to the Swans the week prior by 2 points. So the Bombers heart rates, or the Bombers fans heart rates, have been, really, really just shaky the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm backing in the Bombers to win this game over North Melbourne. I know the last time that they played against North Melbourne, they only managed to get the job done by a margin of 6 points in the end in that game, when their sub came on and kicked a goal to get the Bombers over the line. But yeah, I do think the Bombers are going to win this game. I do hope that North Melbourne are competitive in this game. You know, Clarko's back, and to be fair, North Melbourne were playing some decent footy against Melbourne last round before Melbourne in the second half came storming home and got the win by 32 points in the end. But yeah, hopefully North Melbourne can be, you know, competitive as they were in that sort of first half against Melbourne in this game and make a real contest out of this one. But I do think the Bombers will be a little bit too good and get over the line against the Roos. Next up, we've got the Swans taking on the Suns at the SCG. The Swans are now coming off their 4th win in a row. Last week, they got the job done over the Giants, while the Suns, they were very competitive against the Crows, but then ended up losing that game against the Crows by a margin of 28 points in the end. Geez, I have seen a few times where the Suns have come to the SCG and gotten the job done, but the way that the Swans are playing at the moment, I think the Swans will get the W in this game over the Suns. I think, you know, the Swans, they're playing some very decent footy at the moment. They've won 4 in a row now. I think last week was a very good test of where they're at, because, you know, they were playing a side last week that had won 6 games or 7 games. I think it was 6 games in a row, and they managed to still get the job done, the Swans. So yeah, that shows where their confidence is at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in the Swans to get the job done over the Suns in this game. Next up, we move on to the twilight realm of Saturday footy. We've got the Lions taking on the Crows at the Gabba. The Lions are coming off that 3-point win over the Dockers, while the Crows are coming off a 28-point win over the Suns. Jeez, it's going to be a cracking game of footy. Last time these two teams met, it was the Crows that got the job done, but that one was at the Adelaide Oval, and this one's at the Gabba. And that's why I think the Lions are going to get the job done in this game. The Lions have got, you know, they've built a bit of a fortress this year at the Gabba. You know, I don't think they've lost a game actually this year at the Gabba. Someone fact check me on that, but I think I'm correct in saying that. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in the Lions to get the job done over the Crows. I do think it's going to be a very competitive game. I do think both teams have some, you know, very good teams on paper, and their forward lines, both of these teams' forward lines, I think are very dynamic. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game to watch. Is that right? Very dynamic. I think both of these teams' forward lines are very dynamic. I don't know if that's correct, but I think what I should be saying is that I think the dynamics of both teams' forward lines are very good. I think that's what I should have said. Anyway, that out the window, I do think the Lions are going to get the job done in this game. It's at the Gabba. Like I said, they've been building a fortress this year at the Gabba. So yeah, I think the Lions will get the job done over the Crows in this one. Next up, we've got a cracker of a game on Saturday night footy. We've got the Blues taking on the D's at the MCG right after the Tillies game. The crowd is going to be pumping. The Blues are coming off a good win over the Saints last round, while the D's are coming off a good win as well. A 32-point win last round against North Melbourne. This is going to be a ripper of a contest. The Blues are right in form, and so are the D's. It's probably the two most informed sides of the comp right now, facing off against each other on Saturday night. It's going to be a ripper to watch. It's a tough game to tip because I can see it going either way. I mean, the Blues, they were really pushed by the Saints last round. You know, the Saints, they were just really giving it to the Blues last round. I mean, I was watching a bit of that game, and the pressure that the Saints applied last round against the Blues was insane. But the Blues still managed to get up and get the job done, which I think is a real good sign for them. You know, they were put under the pump in that sort of first half against the Saints, but the Blues, they did respond and they managed to get the job done in the end. So that's a very good sign for the Blues, I will say. The D's though, they're looking in some red hot form as well at the moment. They've won a few games in a row now, and they're looking pretty good. It's a tough game to tip, but I am going to be backing in the D's to get the job done over the Blues in this one. The D's are, welcoming back some handy inclusions in the likes of Grundy and Oliver. And I just think, it's going to be a little bit too much for the Blues this Saturday night. They've got a few injuries in their side, and they're playing a side who's bringing back, a few good players in their side. So I think it's going to be a little bit too tough for the Blues. I'm going to be backing in the D's to get the job done in this game over Carlton. And the last game of the Saturday batch is the Eagles taking on Fremantle at Optus Stadium. It's the Derby or the Derby, the Western Derby or Western Derby, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. Wow, this is crazy. Looking at the form table, they pretty much got the same form the last 5 matches. They've won 1 each team and they've lost 4. That is crazy to think about, especially for the Dockers as well. Who knows, there could be an upset on the card. I mean, the Eagles, they beat North Melbourne and then they only lost by a point to Essendon. But to be fair though, the Dockers, they beat Geelong in Geelong and they only lost to the Lions by a margin of 3 points. So I do think the Dockers should be getting the job done in this game, but you never know, there could be a surprise. I mean, I was watching something on Fox Footy and someone said it pretty correctly that the Dockers have been very inconsistent, or well, they didn't say exactly that, but they basically were saying that the Dockers have been very inconsistent this season, and their form shows that as well. So there could be a surprise in this game. The Eagles could really shock the AFL world in this game and get up, but I don't think that's going to happen really. I think the Dockers should win comprehensively. That's the word I'm looking for, comprehensively. Backing in the Dockers to get the job done over the Eagles in this game. Next up, we move on to the Sunday batch of games. The first game on the Sunday is in Tasmania. We've got Hawthorn taking on the Western Bulldogs. The Hawks are coming off that 32-point win over my Pies. Freaking hell. And we've got the Dogs, who are coming off a very nice win over the Tigers last round. This is going to be an interesting game. I do think the Hawks are going to really take it up to the Dogs, and it is in Tasmania as well. So, it's sort of, the Tasmanian aspect, I guess, sort of plays into Hawthorn's hands because, Hawthorn have played a lot of games in Tassie. But in fairness, so have the Dogs, and they've played Hawthorn in Tassie a few times now. So, a few of the Dogs players have sort of gotten a feel of, I don't know what I'm looking for here, but they've sort of gotten a feel for the ground at Tasmania, where they'll be playing the Hawks this game. But yeah, I am going to be tipping the Dogs to get the job done over Hawthorn in this game. I think the Dogs looked really good last round, and they played some very good footy. I mean, so did the Hawks in fairness, but I think the Dogs just played a little bit better footy than the Hawks did last round. And I think the Dogs, they're pushing to stay in the top 8. So I think they're gonna, keep playing some decent footy just to stay in the top 8. I'm gonna be backing in the Dogs over the Hawks in this one. Next up, we've got the Saints taking on the Tigers at Marvel Stadium. Let's have a look here. The Saints are coming off that loss against Carlton by a margin of 19 points. Well, the Tigers are coming off that loss against the Western Bulldogs. This is a tough game to tip. I can see it going either way. It is at Marvel Stadium as well, not at the MCG. I know the last time that these two teams met, the Tigers got the job done at the MCG. I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to go in a different direction this game. I just feel like after watching the game last week that, the Tigers at Marvel Stadium, they're a bit iffy. they're not, you know, fully in control down at Marvel Stadium. Well, not down, but at Marvel Stadium. And I think the Saints, obviously, because it is their home ground, the Saints play Marvel Stadium very well. So yeah, I'm actually gonna be backing in St Kilda to get the job done in this game over the Tigers. I do think it's going to be a very good competitive game of footy, this one. I mean, it was the last time these two teams met. But yeah, I'm backing in the Saints at Marvel Stadium to get the job done in this game over the Tigers. And here we go, the last game of the round. It is Port Adelaide taking on the Giants at the Adelaide Oval. The Power coming off their 4th loss in a row last round. They got done by only 12 points, in fairness, against Geelong. So it was a pretty good showing by the Power at the Cattery. They only got done by 12 points, so fair play in that aspect to the Power. And the Giants are coming off a loss against the Swans last round by a margin of 11 points. Isn't that crazy that both Saturday night games last round almost ended up having the same score? That's crazy to think about. Anyway, this is a tough game to tip because, you know, it's sort of one of those games where I do feel like the Giants are gonna, you know, sort of stick in the game, and if they could stick around long enough, they may be able to get the job done. I feel like it's going to be one of those strange games for the Giants. Just somehow, I don't know how, but somehow find a way to get the job done. I mean, there's a few injuries creeping around at Port Adelaide, but with that being said, I am going to be tipping Port Adelaide to get the job done. I don't think that they would want to lose 5 games in a row, especially at this time of the season. I think they'll want to get some confidence back in to their group, into their side as well. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in Port Adelaide to bounce back, to get on the winners list in front of their home fans. So yeah, I'm backing in the Power to beat the Giants, and what I think will be a very I think it's a 50-50 game, to be honest. I'll say that. I basically think it's a 50-50 game. But yeah, I'm backing in Port Adelaide to get the job done over the Giants in this one. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my tips for round 22 of the 2023 AFL season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your tips in the comments below and compare them to mine. And yeah, cheers guys for watching the video, and catch you later. Cheers.